My first experience with a difficult platformer was on the slopes of Mount Celeste one fateful winter many years ago. I'd heard of its intimidating difficulty, yet found myself mesmerized by its gorgeous pixel art and ultimately fell for its many glowing reviews. If you've played Celeste, then you'll also know it doesn't take long to fall in love with the game and its difficulty, and so began my quest to play, enjoy, fail, quit, loathe, and grudgingly come back to a whole host of tough games, from egg simulators to onesie mountain climbers to overgrown tower leapers. These are some of my favorite tough games, why I love them, and why I can't stand some of them. Love Eternal is one of the more recent precision platformers to catch my eye, and like Celeste, it has one glorious feature to make the pain of getting through a level a little bit more bearable: instant restarts. You die, you spawn right back at the start of the level and can immediately try again. Love Eternal often has 2 checkpoints per level actually, one before all the spikes and lasers and one after, and the latter often taunts you as you impale or otherwise injure yourself over and over again. In tougher rooms, you'll end up getting into a nice rhythm of try, fail, restart, try, fail, restart. Wait a minute, are instant restarts actually good? See, when I first played Celeste, this room-by-room approach seemed to make things more approachable. Just focus on what's in front of you, study the level, and execute the correct set of moves with precise timing. You fail, you try again and adjust your inputs as necessary. But as soon as you start failing 4, 5, 10, or 20 times in a row, that instant restart kind of turns around to bite you. You get stuck in this offbeat rhythm that's hard to break out of, and not having even a momentary breather in between attempts just does something to your brain. Gives you that one more try boost of adrenaline when you know something has to change, but your fingers want to keep on doing what got them into this mess in the first place. It's a very interesting thing to notice going on in your brain while seemingly being unable to actually stop it. Eventually you will, or you'll just quit, and it's that friction that makes your success feel all the sweeter. Love Eternal breaks up its platforming with these trivial by comparison corridor sections and all the weird pixel creepy horror stuff that I'm not going to spoil for you. But if you enjoyed Celeste and want a shorter, just as difficult platformer with a story that goes places, give it a shot, or go play the demo and see if it's for you. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have games with 0 checkpoints. Surely this will be better, right? Enter Beton Brutal. The name doesn't lie, because although the overgrown tower you ascend is beautiful, falling back down through it isn't so lovely. The game feels great to play, there's this thrilling and scary sense of speed in your movement, which makes your miscalculations all the more dramatic. You can kind of try to mitigate the amount of progress you lose by controlling exactly where it is you're falling, and some areas do have little safety nets, so to speak. But by not having a single checkpoint, Beton Brutal never lets you off the hook. You always know in the back of your mind that every single jump counts and could be your last, which, at least for me, does cause me to play more carefully than in a game like Love Eternal or Celeste. I had a slight addiction to the game when it released in 2023 and don't think I even ever made it to the halfway point, but watching speedrunners breeze through the early areas put some wind in my sails back in the day. I love this game, but I also hate it, because it remains this impossible task that will forever be sitting in my Steam library. Now, oddly enough, there is one other checkpointless game where you can also easily lose progress that I feel very differently about: Baby Steps. Co-created by the infamous Bennett Foddy of Bennett Foddy's Getting Over It, I wasn't sure if this one was going to be too rage game adjacent for my tastes. Thankfully, it wasn't, and that's in part thanks to... Here, let's let Bennett take it away.
We're taking a very different approach to my game Getting Over It, which has one path. And if you mess up, you're back to the beginning. This is not like that at all. Really kind of achievable set of paths that are very sort of safe and more or less easy. And we're constantly tempting you off that and inviting you to try something that's a bit more difficult, but on your own terms. And if something that's optional seems like it's too hard, you just don't have to do it.
That design choice was essentially what got me to actually buy the game. And they weren't wrong, you will be tempted to explore more risky paths. There were even a few times I purposefully lost progress just to see what would happen, and 9 times out of 10 I ended up exploring somewhere new that I otherwise would have missed out on. And that's kind of a wild idea, a game about ascending a mountain that tempts the player to go back down it. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I guess I should mention, there technically are checkpoint campfires in baby steps, but you won't respawn back at them when you make a mistake. If you fall, your progress is instantly saved, so there's no quick Alt F4ing to try to reload before the game realizes that you failed. But anyways, climbing a mountain that you could slide down the side of at any point, and climbing a tower with tiny platforms you could fall off at any point do seem pretty similar in theory, but in practice, the level design of these games lends to a much different mentality when playing. In Beton Brutal, you can absolutely lose all your progress in an instant if you happen to fall down the middle of the tower with no nearby platforms to catch you, but in baby steps, the mountain kind of takes on this step or staircase shape, so it's impossible to fall all the way down in one go, unless I guess you're really, really unlucky. I've got one game left to talk about, and it falls somewhere in between infinite checkpoints and no checkpoints. Oeuf. It actually has 23 checkpoints in total, 13 of which I've discovered. Described by me as a Dark Souls egg platformer with a coat of Minecraft paint, Oeuf is probably the most rage-inducing game on this list, but look how cozy it is. Sure, the platforming in Beton Brutal can be pretty high stakes, but at least it's much easier to stick your landing. Here you often end up as a puddle of goo on the ground, but at least you can't fall all the way back to the beginning, and if you do hit the floor with enough momentum to break your shell, you'll just be teleported back to the last checkpoint. Oeuf also has a quick restart button, both a blessing and a curse whenever I would accidentally press it mid-jump. But the all-important question here, how is the checkpoint spacing? I think it's perfect. They're certainly not too close together for comfort, actually it'll probably cause you quite a lot of discomfort, but I found them to be the perfect distance from each other to feel extremely rewarding when reaching a new one, much like bonfires in a Souls game. There's a good mix of playing it safe, not wanting to lose the past few minutes of progress and all your perfect positioning, but the safety net of having a set place to return to should you fail allows you to decide how risky, how fast and loose you want to play. Well, sometimes it's not even your choice and the game decides to be fast and loose all on its own. Also, something important to point out here, Oeuf was made by the creator of Steven's Sausage Roll, one of the most diabolical puzzle games of all time, so don't say I didn't warn you. Happy platforming, everyone!